እንደምን አመሻችሁ የሪች ፋሚሊ ቤተሰቦች። ዛሬ ደግሞ ለየት ያለ ከዚህ በፊት አድርገነው የማናውቀው ለየት ያለ ቶፒክ ይዘንላችሁ ቀርበናል። ይህንን ደግሞ የምታቀርብልን ሀና ስዩም ትባላለች። ትራቭል ኤጀንት ናት። በዚህ በኩል ደግሞ ኤክስቴንሲቭ ኤክስፔሪየንስ አላት። ስፔሻሊ ልጆች ይዘን ትራቭል ስናደርግ ብዙ እንቸገራለን እና ሃው ቱ ሜክ ዛት ኢዚየር ይህንን ደግሞ ለእኛ ደግሞ ኬተር የሚያደርጉ ኦርጋናይዜ እንትኖች ቦታዎችን ታስተዋውቀናለች። እንግዲህ ሚዩት አድርገን ሰማታለን ሬኮርድ ስለምናደርገው። ሀናዬ አይ ታንክ ዩ ሶ ማች። ሀናዬ ከልጅነቷ ትንሽ ቤቢ ያለች ነው ማውቃት እዚህ ሀገር።
Oh,
ሺዝ አን አሜዚንግ ትንሽ ልጅ ያለች እና አይ አፕሪሺየት ዩ አንቺ ነሽ ኮንታክት አድርገሽን ስለዚህ ልርዳችሁ ብለሽ ስለመጣሽ። እንግዲህ ሚዩት እያደረገን ሁላችንም እንሰማታለን። ፕሮግራሙን ለአንቺ ሰጥቼሻለሁ። I know you
thank you.
understood a lot of the English Amharic, right?
I understood it all. ግን ማውራቱ ትንሽ
Yay!
ያስቸግረኛል። ስለዚህ በእንግሊዝኛ ነው ማውራው።
በእንግሊዝኛ ጥያቄ ሲመጣ በአማርኛ ትመልሽላቸዋለሽ።
Yeah, that's right. በእንግሊዝኛ ወይም በአማርኛ መጠየቅ ትችላላችሁ፣ ግን እኔ በእንግሊዝኛ ነው ማውራው because it's just ይቀላል ለእኔ። It's a little
Okay.
bit harder for me, but it's okay. But እሰማለሁ፣ ግን አንዳንዴ how it is.
አዎ አማርኛ እየደባለቅሽ ምን እያልሽ ትናገሪያለሽ?
I'll try. I'll do my best. Not a lunch.
አዎ
But I just wanted to say, Majamera, my name is Hana Seyoum. I own my own travel agency. It's called World of Possibilities Travel. And sos ልጆች አሉኝ. So I have a 15-year-old, an 11-year-old, and an 8-year-old girl. So this is a picture of them in front of the pyramids of Egypt. And my middle child, my little boy in the middle, he has severe anxiety, which is in a kind of special need. And the autism, obviously, it's not the same as autism, but it has a lot of the same uh, challenges when we travel, having meltdowns or things that might trigger them, trying to help him with his coping skills, things like that. So we've obviously you see that we've traveled. We traveled quite a bit when they were younger, and then his onset for his OCD and when we learned about his anxiety was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And since then, of course, traveling has been a bit of a challenge. And that's when I started learning about what services are available. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. So I've owned my travel agency. I'll move on to the next slide. So yeah, I've owned my travel agency. It's been about 3 years that I've owned my travel agency. And really my focus is families. So making travel easier and possible for families. But now, of course, focusing on families that have special needs children like autism or anxiety or Down syndrome and this why it's negative because there are challenges that we have when we are traveling, challenges that we have in our families, period, but also that are traveling that we want to make sure that we don't let it stop us because traveling is so important. So really, that's kind of where we're going to talk about today is the value of travel. And there is a value of travel. So first of all, for your child, even any of your children, but even your child that has autism, it helps them to develop new skills as they're going places. It stretches their abilities and helps them build confidence in new environments. I know sometimes it's very easy when they're at home you know what their triggers are. They're in a safe environment, so they don't have as many meltdowns or triggers as they would when they go outside. But going out anywhere outside, but especially when they travel, it really helps them develop new skills. So there's value for travel for that. And of course, giving them the opportunity to see new places, meet new people, that's always important for any person in the family. But also when we travel as a family, it helps us really create some memories, special memories. I know, when a lot of us, when we first found out we were having children, we have this idea of what we want to do with them, where we want to take them, what we want to teach them, special things that we want to do with them, that whether it be going back home or going to a new vacations together. But that's an idea that we have. And just because, they have autism, that doesn't mean we have to stop creating those memories or not be able to create those memories in the beach or going to Walt Disney World or wherever it is that we want to create those memories with. But then also travel is important for us as parents. It's good to be able to have times where we can get away from all of the things that we have to do, whether it's, school or work, their doctor's appointments, therapy appointments, whatever it might be that we're doing for our families. It's important for us to be able to get away also and to get a time to just enjoy the family without all of the busyness that we have. So, we want to make sure that we know that travel is important, that we don't let anything stop us, including our challenges. But there's times that, we think about that when we say that travel just going to be too hard for us, right? It's just too hard to travel because it's hard sometimes even just going to the grocery store or to the dentist. But so why should I try to go to on an airplane or to the beach or to wherever we're going to be? But it's very important that we understand that even though that it presents that there are some challenges, that every family has challenges when traveling. Anytime you go to a new environment, families have travel challenges, but it's a great opportunity for growth. It's a great opportunity to create memories. It's a great opportunity to create connection with your family. So even though we might face challenges, we're able to create beautiful experiences, even though it might be a little hard. So don't let that stop you. The other thing, sometimes we say, well, what if my child has a meltdown in public? One of the things that we have to keep in mind is that, there's children, whether they have autism or not, that might have meltdowns in public. And that our vacations don't have to be perfect. The most important thing is that we're creating memories, that we're spending time together as a family, that we know that if as long as we're together and we're making progress with that, with giving them new opportunities and new experiences, that it's worth it, right? So, and then of course, we want to talk about, and sometimes the other thing people think is, well, what if, other people judge me? There's people, if he has a meltdown on the airplane, or if he has a meltdown, or he or she has a meltdown at the airport, people are going to judge us. We really have to really get past that and focus on our family, focus on what's best for our child, and not worry about what everybody else thinks, because of course, everybody has their own opinions, but we have to focus on what's important for our children. So let's talk about what that looks like. So now we're going to kind of talk about how we plan for travel. We're going to start with the planning, and then we're going to talk about what we do once we are traveling and what things that can make it easier and tips that can make it easier. So first of all, in regards to planning, the first thing you have to think about is, where are we going? Right? So it could be, we want to go back home, Ethiopia, Eritrea. Maybe we want to go to a beach. Maybe we want to go take our kids to Walt Disney World. But really looking and thinking about what are the
That's
best
my
destinations.
thing.
Um, there are destinations that are autism friendly destinations. So two of the resorts that I have put on here, Beaches Resorts and Charisma's Resorts. These resorts, and they're in the Caribbean. There's one in Jamaica, there's some in Jamaica, there's some in Turks and Caicos and in Cancun. These are autism certified resorts that have their staff trained in supporting families with autism and supporting with families that have hidden disabilities or special needs. So their kids club and their teens clubs have people that know how to handle meltdowns, can help. They'll ask you questions about what are your son's triggers, what are your child's coping needs and coping mechanisms, and they will make sure that they get to know your child so that they can help your child through a meltdown if they have them, but then also gives you a chance to be able to take a break, knowing that there are qualified staff members that are there at the resort to help you. There are also cities that are certified autism centers, like Dubai is actually, surprisingly, Dubai is an autism certified city. So a lot of the parks and recreation activities and hotels that you can go to in Dubai have had autism training. So they have training on how to support families that have autism. So again, a wonderful opportunity to find destinations that have that. Also in Arizona, there's cities in Arizona, there's cities in California that have autism trained parks and recreation departments and things like that. So a wonderful benefit there. Um, and then the other thing is also cruise lines. Cruise lines also have autism friendly certifications and staff. In fact, so Disney Cruise Line has one that has disability access services. Royal Caribbean also has it, and Carnival. So what that looks like is they help you get on the boat first. Make sure that instead of waiting in long lines or yeah, waiting, get being around a lot of people waiting in the waiting area to check in, you get special access to get in on the boat earlier, so that way your child doesn't have to. Again, a lot of children with autism tend to have challenges waiting in lines or lots of crowds or lots of noise. So it helps avoid some of that because you're able to get on the cruise ship early with and miss all of the crowds and actually get into the go in, learn about where the ship looks like, maybe walk around when it's not as full, so you can get your child or yourself familiarized with the space that's there. So picking uh, the right cruise ship or again the right destination. Also, Royal Caribbean, there's a program that's called Autism on the Seas, where it is families that go together. It's a cruise that's designed for families with autism. So you're there with other families that understand, that you can relate with. They have people that you can actually, for additional fee, hire that are volunteer special needs workers or maybe special needs trained school counselors, things like that, that come on the boat and that on the ship and will actually help your family with that time. They even give you a time where they'll do special activities with them so you can go off and have some downtime by yourself just to give you a little break as well. So there's a lot of great opportunities as cruises. So we've got certain cities, we've got resorts, but then again, we have these cruise lines that are also available to help you with that. And then the other thing, and a lot of people don't think about, is that even theme parks are autism certified. And Disney is one of the main ones but Universal Studios and also SeaWorld and Busch Gardens are also autism certified uh, destinations. Walt Disney World and Walt Disney and Disneyland have amazing programs where you can access their disability services department before you go. They let you know about well, sometimes they'll be getting into the park a little earlier. They also have on the app where you don't have to wait in line. So you still have to wait, but it allows you to check into the ride that you want to go on. And then they say, okay, you need to come back in 30 minutes. And then you are able to go to eat or something else so that your child doesn't have to wait in line for those 30 minutes to get on the ride. They also have quiet areas. So I know a lot of people, sometimes children have issues, sensory issues, where if it's too noisy. So yes, noise canceling headphones work really well, but they also have within the resorts and within the theme parks, quiet areas that you can go to take a bit of a break, so that your child can kind of regroup, refresh during the trip. So those, again, some great options for families that have it. And again, it's about choosing the right destinations. A lot of destinations, the ones that are certified autism, you are able to call them ahead of time and get special accommodations made. A lot of them also have sensory guides. So they will have a guide that tells you what the different sensory levels are. Is it going to be high for auditory? Is it going to be high for visual needs? So if your child is sensory seeking and needs a lot of stimulation, you might be good. You might know that, okay, this is a great ride for them. They're gonna love this ride. But if someone doesn't need a lot of stimulation, they get overstimulated easily, you know which rides and which areas are best to take them on. So there's sensory guides that will show you that for the different rides, for the different parts of the resort. So if you wanted to know what the kids club was, or if there's a dining venue that you want to go to, a lot of them will have a sensory guide available to help prepare you for having that vacation there. And then, of course, also communicating. It's very important, whatever destination that you choose, that you are talking to the hotel or the theme park before you go, so that you can prepare those accommodations that you need and make sure that they understand what your family needs for your vacation to make it memorable and enjoyable and a little bit more stress-free. And then some tips to get ready. So now that you've picked the destination, you know you're going to go to Walt Disney World, or you're going to go to the beaches resorts that has a certified autism travel, a certified autism kids club and the teens club. What are some things that you need to get ready for? The first thing that's very important, and many of you might be familiar with, is social stories. So social stories are stories either, that you can watch on YouTube. Maybe it's a video that you watch on YouTube of the family, a family going through the airport check-in, so that your child becomes familiar with what should expect to see. So maybe you're going to show them the video, or read a book to them about checking in at the airport. What does that look like? That somebody's going to be taking the luggage, that they're going to have to go through TSA, that when they get to the resort, this is what the room is going to look like. Things so showing them videos, reading them books about traveling, so that it helps prepare them for what they are going to experience, right? The more that children with autism have that information, the less likely they're going to be triggered. Another thing to help them with the time frame and preparing them for the change that we're going to be moving from, leaving the house and going, is using a countdown calendar. So having a calendar where you're marking off the days until the trip, so they know it's not going to be something that's abrupt for them, that all of a sudden we're leaving the house. You've been talking to them about it, you've been preparing them for it, you've been counting down for it. And then when you're packing, I know this is also a major concern for families, is remember to pack things that are going to give them comfort, because they are going to a new place, but it doesn't mean that everything has to be new. So if they have or sensory, if they're sensitive to touch, maybe you take their bed sheets with them because they're comfortable with their bed sheets or their favorite pajamas. So that way, even if they are at the hotel, you're not worried about the sheets don't feel right for them. Or if they have a favorite comfort item that they like to take with them, maybe it's a teddy bear, maybe it's a toy, maybe it's a blanket, whatever it might be for that child, that is their comfort item, making sure that you take those with them. Some children also have a need for special food or special meals. Well, you can pack those. That might also look like you're going to making sure that the hotel has a fridge or a kitchen, so you can help prepare those special items for the family. So those are some things. Another thing is, like, when you're at the airport, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when you're at the airport, but making sure that they're getting exercise before they board the plane, because they need to get some of that energy out so they can sit down and relax during the travel period. So those are just a few tips to kind of as you're getting ready. Now let's talk about the hotel or accommodations. One of the things that you definitely want to talk about when you're thinking about a hotel or a cruise line or going on a trip is where is the room going to be located? If your child has sensitive sensory needs, for noise, for example, you might want them to be in a quiet room. So you want to make sure that you're staying away from the elevators, that you're contacting the hotel or contacting the resort or contacting the cruise line to make sure that your room is in a quiet area of the hotel or the resort or the cruise ship, because you don't want noise to impact your child. Another thing is, if they need their space, if it, is to find a hotel that has connecting rooms. So maybe you're in one room and the child is in the other room, or one parent and some of the other kids are in one room and you and that your child is in a separate room. So they have a little bit of space, a little bit of privacy, some a place to kind of um, have calm down and have their own space away from what everybody else is doing. Another thing, of course, is finding hotels and rooms that offer kitchenettes. So that way if there are special foods that you have to prepare, you're able to go ahead and bring some of those items so that you can feed them the things that they're used to, or things that they might, whether it be a dietary restriction, if they can't have gluten or if they can't have that you're able to prepare those meals for them. And then the next thing is, of course, when getting to the airport. I know that's sometimes very challenging as you're thinking about even how do we do that? What does that look like when I'm going to the airport? So the first thing is when you're even just getting ready, we've already talked, we've done the social stories, we've showed them, videos of kids getting on the airport, what the process will be like. But another thing that you can do is actually go to the airport ahead of time and maybe just walk through. You can obviously can't go past TSA, but just getting them familiar with what the airport looks like, the noises at the airport, things like that. But the most important thing, especially when you're traveling with on an airplane, whether you're going back home to Ethiopia or going to a vacation, or Eritrea is going back home, is TSA Cares. So this is a program the TSA program that is available to families and individuals with disabilities. It's a 1-800 number that you call at least 72 hours before your flight. I would recommend 1 week to 3 days before your flight. So you don't want to do it too early, but it's about a week to 3 days before your flight. And you call that 1-800 number and you tell them what kind of needs that your your child or the family member has. So if it's and if you need to, they'll ask you questions about what kind of is it triggers that they might have, what kind of a special assistance that they need, and they will assign you someone at the airport to help you go through TSA, the pre-check. Of course, everyone has to go through pre-check, but instead of you just going in the main line with everybody else and having to wait in line, or helping. They will also help you with taking your items through the security check. They'll ask you which way would you prefer that your child or you would like to have the check done. Would you rather go through the machine? Would you rather have the pat down? Whatever it might be. So they're able to walk you through the process to make it a little bit easier for you and your child that has that need. Also, with the airlines, you can call them ahead of time, and you want to call them ahead of time. And you can ask for pre-boarding or late boarding based on your child's needs. So some children, their biggest issue is having, or biggest challenge is having lots of crowds. So you want to be able to get on the plane early before all of the other people are there. Find your seat, get them settled, give them their items so that they can, whether it be the tablet with their headphones, so that they can calm down and kind of get focused on that before everybody else comes on. Some other children might have challenges sitting for that long. It takes, 30 to 45 minutes for everybody to get on the plane. So for you, it might be telling the airline that you want to be one of the last ones to board on the plane. And so they'll make sure that you're the last person to board. So as soon as you get on, you find your seat and you're ready to go. So those are some things that you can do to help making the airline easier. Another thing is thinking about where your seat is. So if your child likes to move and maybe kick a lot, then maybe thinking about being in that front row. Now you definitely have to make your travel arrangements early enough to be able to get that front row. But that front row is good because then there's no one in front of them that they're kicking that could cause a challenge or disturbance to. So having that it's called the bulkhead seat, but that front row seat makes it easier to do flying. And then, of course, also thinking about what things you need to bring. I know a lot of people are very familiar with the noise canceling headphones because there is a lot of noise on an airplane. You've got, the loudspeaker coming on with an announcement. You've got bells and buttons kind of going off. But you also have the sound of the engine. So if those are things that are going to be challenging for your child, having noise canceling headphones is a great option to help them kind of lower the sound and the sensory inputs that they have. Also, another thing that's very important when you're traveling, even with young children, but any children, is having something that they can chew on. We've all have felt it, when our ears feel like they're clogged or they're popping, and it's very uncomfortable. It can be very uncomfortable for children, especially if they don't know what it is making sure that they're chewing on gum or candy or a chew toy or something so that that ear popping isn't making it hard for them and making them uncomfortable during takeoff and landing. And then, of course, making sure that you have things that they can play with. My kids love to have Play-Doh so that they're having something to play with. If it's a fidget toy, if they like watching a special show on their tablet, making sure you have that downloaded so that they have those things that are available to them. And then picking the best time to travel. So if your child, if they can sleep anywhere and aren't comfortable, maybe you make it a very late flight so that they're asleep for a lot of the flight. Or do it right after they eat so they're not hungry or they're not getting hungry on the flight. So finding times that also work well for your child's schedule um, as will also help when you're planning and thinking about the airplane part of it. And then, of course, like I said, during travel, there's some things that, again, taking breaks, using the headphones. A lot of airports will also have quiet areas. So while you're waiting for your flight, if you don't want to wait in the main boarding area where there's all the noise and all of the um, people that your child is not comfortable with or might have too much sensory input. A lot of airports have areas where there are quiet rooms that you can go to. You just have to ask if that airport does. And then you can go into that room and it's away from everything. You're able to see when your flight times are and boarding schedules and things like that. They usually have a screen in the rooms that have that, but it takes your child away from the noise and a lot of the sensory inputs that they may have. Another thing that might be really good for the flight attendants is you can get what's a through the I think it's the Autism Speaks or Autism Travels website. You can get a card that you can give to the flight attendants or any staff member that tells them what are your needs of your child. That my child has autism. Here are his needs. So instead of and as you're boarding, you're able to just hand that to the flight attendant, so they're aware that you might need additional support or if something were to happen, that they know how they can help you. And then of course just celebrating the wins, knowing that again, it's not going to be perfect, but you're here to have fun. You're here to create memories, and you'll get through all of that. And then the last thing is, of course, getting help. We've already talked about TSA Cares offers support. We've already talked about how you can contact the airlines, that there are resorts. But one of the things that one of the services that I also provide is I help families think through all of this. There's a lot that we went through, right? We talked about picking the right destination, contacting the different people, making sure that your seats are in the right place, finding the quiet areas in the resort or the theme park, that can be very overwhelming. And so if you feel that that's just a lot of it work and it's just too much information for me, that's where my services come in. I can help you plan those needs. I talk to you about what your family needs, what support you need. What type of vacation or trip are you looking at taking? And then I help you in the planning process. But I also have a free resource. If you see this QR code, you can take a picture of the QR code, and we can also send the link out later. But it is a guide for families. So it has a lot of the information that I covered today, and it just walks you through things that you should consider, phone numbers that you can call to help you when you're traveling. But so I just recommend one of the things I do want to make sure that I want you to offer is a special offer that we have for you now. One of the resorts that I had mentioned is the Beaches Resorts. They're in Jamaica and Turks and Caicos. And these resorts are amazing. They are certified autism resorts. So their staff members are trained for with autism and other special needs. All of their kids club members or their teen club staff are trained in autism and support and how to support children and how coping skills, all of those things. They also have what's called a culinary concierge. So if there's your family member has a gluten sensitivity or any other dietary need, you can actually meet with them, with their restaurant staff before you, at the very beginning of your trip, and they will talk to you about what dietary needs that they have, and they will customize their menu to for that family member. So if they can't have gluten, or if they can't have dairy, or if they can't have any of those things, they will actually walk you through their menu and help modify a special menu for you. And they currently are offering right now up to 65% off their resort pricing. And these are beautiful resorts in this area. So it's something that definitely look into if you're looking at taking a resort to, taking a vacation to Jamaica or Turks and Caicos. These are beautiful resorts. And I'm going to open it up to questions in just a second. But again, here's my contact information. So if you have any questions, you can go to my website. You can schedule a call on my calendar. You can also give me a call or email me if you have any questions or just want, maybe something that we didn't get to cover here that is special to your family that you would like to discuss. Or again, if you would like to if you need help planning a vacation or a trip for your family, then I am available to do that as well. So, and I guess I will now open it up for questions.
Thank you, Hannah. You did a good explanation and you told us about a lot of the opportunities we have to travel with our kids and make fun. Sometimes I know when my kids were younger, we didn't travel much because, we could not accommodate them and all that. But there's so many options now. ብዙ እድል አለን እንደምታስረዳን ብዙ ኦፖርቹኒቲ አለና ይህንን ልጆቻችንን ለማንሸራሸር ውጭ ለመውሰድ ወደኋላ እንዳንል ነው። በዚህ ላይ ደግሞ ኦቲዝም ሰርቲፋይድ የሚባሉ ቦታዎችም አሉ፣ ከተማዎችም አሉ፣ አገሮችም አሉ። ሶ ኢትስ ማተር ኦፍ እኛ ፕላን አድርገን ነው ፕላን ካደረግነው ከመረጥነው ቦታውን ምቹ የሆነ ብዙዎቻችን ደግሞ ዳየት ልጆቻችን ልዩ ልዩ አይነት ዳየት ላይ ናቸው። እሱንም አኮሜዴት እንደሚያደርጉን ነው እንግዲህ ዛሬ የሰማነው። በጣም ጥሩ ነገሮች ነው። እኛ ልጆች ትንሽ እያሉ ይሄ ሁሉ ኦፖርቹኒቲ አልነበረም። አይ ነው ዲዩ ነው ብዙ ጊዜ ስለ ካርኒቫል ኦቲዝም ምንድነው ኦቲዝም ኦን ደ ሲዝ የሚባል እንትን አለ። ካርኒቫል 7 ዴይ ነው መሰለኝ አይደለም? ስለሱ ብዙ ነገር እስቲ ንገረኛ because I get asked that question a lot.
Is that in a Carnival cruise line ነው የምትይው?
አዎ
ወይም
ካርኒቫል
yeah, so
ክሩዝ ላይን ይመስለኝ ኦቲዝም ኦን ደ ሲዝ የሚባል እንትን አላቸው መሰለኝ።
it's still Royal Caribbean no. So
ሮያል
Royal
ካሪቢያን
Caribbean no ያለው. So Autism on the Seas is a special sailings አለ. So you pick there's a ብዙ ምርጫ አለ. So dates, ships, and now you can sign up for the program. And what they do is that you can either just join the cruise መሄድ ትችላላችሁ ወይም if you need additional support, somebody else to help you, they offer almost in the buddy አይነት to help you, they assign you someone. There's an additional fee for that, but they assign you someone to help you through the process. They have a special check-in alacho, so you get there early, you're able to check in before everybody else. They have a special kids club just for the kids that are on the spectrum with activities for them. They have what's called a respite dinner. So I think 1 or 2 dinners out of the trip, you're able to they get a special your kids get to eat early, and then they take them to a special activity area where they play with them. They have a great time, but then it gives you time to just have dinner and alone with your husband or with your family that doesn't need that special support. So it gives you a good time to just relax and enjoy the vacation because you have someone that understands your needs there to help you with through the process.
ዋው በጣም
እኔ ጥያቄ
ኢንትረስቲንግ።
ያለኝ እኔ እሱ ላይ እድሜያቸው እስከ ስንት ነው? ያ አሁን ያልሻቸው ያሉት ኦልሶ ፎር አዳልትስ ቢካዝ ላስት ታይም እኛ ስንጠይቅ ከ18 በኋላ ብዙ ነገር አልነበራቸውም እና ኢፍ ዩ ሃቭ ኤኒ ሞር ኢንፎርሜሽን ቢካዝ ላስት ይር ሄደን ነበረ ካሪቢያን እና ምንም ኦንሊ ቲንግ የነገሩን ሴኪሪቲ ላይ ማስመዝገብ እንዳለብን ምክንያቱም ኦፕን ኤሪያ ስለሆነ በተለይ ሲ ላይ ሞር ታይም በምንሄድበት ሰዓት ዋች እንዲያደርጉት ሌላ የባጅ እንትን እንዲሰጡት አደረግን። ምክንያቱም ሌላ ሰዎችም ሲያዩት እና እንደዚህ አይነት ነገሮች እድሜ ያለው ወይንስ because they didn't have much activity after the 18 like you know እንደ ኪዶቹ የለም እና ያው ከአንቺ ጋር መሆን አለባቸው ትንሽ ብትነግሪን።
Yeah, so the regular cruises and Desano. So just the regular cruises, they do have for up until 15, but the Autism on the Seas is a special program, a different company that has worked with Royal Caribbean, partner Araragu, and they work with them to use their meeting space for special rooms. They have the extra staff members available for support. So if you um, if you need some additional support, because Andanso, they don't need that much support. They just need quiet areas. They just need a few things. Again, if you want that extra support where they're older kids, or you need somebody to be there with you, or just want to be on a sailing that has additional activities for your children, then it's best to do the Autism on the Seas program because this one is done with the organization and they have those special activities. They have the additional support if you need it, and it's almost the whole ship is that those families that have autism.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And so if you have questions about that, you can email me or call me and I can help you with finding which of those, because it's not every sailing. It's not, so you have to find out which one of those are the Autism on the Seas sailings so that we can get those special dates for you.
Thank you, Hannah. So information shim ደግሞ ሰጥተሽናል. Do you do as an agent, you will help with everything like talking and letting them know about the special need. You'll assist in helping families throughout the process, which is really good. አንዳንዴ ኒዳችን የልጆቻችንን መናገር ትንሽ ይከብደናልና she will assist in letting the companies know that you have a child with special needs and all the needs.
You're on mute, Leah.
I muted myself. Somebody muted me. እና አንዳንዴ ደግሞ ሲብሊንጎቹም ደግሞ እንዳይቀርባቸው I always said that አንዳንዴ ስፔሻሊ ልጆች ሲኖረን ብዙ ነገርን እንደ ሌሎች ፋሚሊ ላናረግ እንችላለን የልጆቻችን ያስቸግሩናል እያልን እና ሲብሊንጎቹም እንዳይቀርባቸው ማድረግ ጥሩ ነው። ልጆቻችንም ደግሞ እንዳለችው አንድ ቀን ደግሞ ረስፒት ሊያረጉልን ይችላሉ ማለት እነሱ ልጆቻችን ሊይዙ እኛ ደግሞ እንጆይ ልናረገው ኦፖርቹኒቲ ያለን እና I don't know how much does it cost to do something like does it cost more when you comparing it to having typical kids versus these specialized places does it cost more?
So, for example, beaches, resorts, it's not going to be a cost special for if you're going there. Now, that's going to be the same no matter. The culinary concierge service that helps you with the diet, Manaman, there's no additional fee for that one. So the only thing there would be an additional fee at that resort would be if you wanted that special person, like a individual attention, because they have what's called I think they call it a nanny, but it's for any age. So it could be for adults. It could be for if you have a grandmother or grandfather that needs additional support also, or if you have an adult child or even a young child and you need that person to give you that support with them, you can actually, for additional fee, hire them to help to be with you throughout the day. So then when you're on the beach, you're able to enjoy the beach instead of just being worried about is my child going to wander, or how is he going to be in the water? They actually are there with you. So there's an additional fee for that. But just going to the resort, it's not going to be one more or the other. It's just going to Dubai. You can go to Dubai. It's going to be the same cost as any other family. We would just, if there's any additional support that you need, that might be where you have additional fees.
Okay.
Mhm.
በጣም ጥሩ ኢንፎርሜሽን ነው። ቴንክ ዩ ሶ ማች። ኤኒባዲ ኤልስ who has a question ቴክስት እዚህ ላይ ልታደርጉት ትችላላችሁ። የቲኤስኤ cares number I found it online and I posted it on I think is that
Yes,
yeah that's the
that's it.
number.
That's it. So
Oh,
again, make sure you call at least a week ahead of time to contact them, and they'll ask you all the questions that, about your child, what support they need, and make sure that they'll help, and then try to make sure that there's someone there to help you through TSA.
yes. Wow.
Nah, honey, I just remember now the TSC city. I remember the one time they was using that dog to sniff, and my son doesn't like dog. So make sure that when you tell them, when you call them, that you say like either your son is not, he's really scared of a dog or any animals, ምክንያቱም እነሱን ስለሚያደርጉ ስኒፍ ስለሚያደርጉ ሊሮጥ ነበረ ገባሽ ስለሚፈራ ውሻ ማለት ነው። እና ኢትስ ቬሪ ኢምፖርታንት እንደሱ አይነት ችግር ካለ ቀድሞ መንገሩ፣ ምክንያቱም አያመጧቸው ምን ያደርጋሉ በሌላ በኩል ያስገቧቸዋል እነሱ ሌላ ሴኪሪቲ ክሊነርስ አድርገውላቸው ማለት ነው። እና ብቻውንም ክሊን ለማድረግ ካልፈለገ we all as a family we all go through the same gates እነሱ የሚያስገቡት ጋር እና that's very important.
Yeah. And that's what, definitely knowing what to tell them and what questions you should ask, because you want to make sure, and that's why it's special need ካለ ወይም, if there's something that you want to make sure that they know they don't, maybe they don't like to be touched. አንዳንድ ልጆች they don't want to be touched አይደለ? So
Mhm.
you want to make sure you let them know that so they don't do the pat down, because that could trigger them. So in this one it's ነገር, you have to make sure you let them know so that they can provide the right support for your family.
Anybody else that has a question, comment ወይም ኤክስፔሪንሳችሁን ሼር ማድረግ የምትፈልጉ ካላችሁ በጣም ደስ ይለናል። ፕሊዝ ዱ ሶ። አይ ኖ ሌት ብዙ ሰዎች እየገቡ ነው፣ ግን ጥያቄ ያለው ሰው ካለ ወይም ኮመንት የሚሰጥ ሰው ካለ ደስ ይለናል። ሀናዬ anything else you want to add?
I think just, again, don't let one of the things that I always say is their services, they're now becoming more popular. Like you said, Leah, before there wasn't that many. You didn't have, if you wanted, you just had to figure it out on your own. Again, ahun, there are services there. So ask about them, contact the airlines, contact the people, the hotel, and let them know, because you never know. But the most important thing is don't let it stop you. I always say, when your child has a special need, whether it be anxiety or autism, it's a factor in the deciding about the vacation, but it doesn't have to be a limiting factor. It doesn't have to stop you. You can still create the memories. You can still go on vacations. You can still go on trips. You just have to make sure that you kind of plan a little bit more. So, and that's what we're here for.
That's good. Can you give me a recap? ያለች ነው ራሄል። ሶ ሁሉ ኢቨንት እንትናችን ዙም እንደዚህ ፕሬዘንቴሽናችን ሪኮርድ አድርገነዋል። ዩቱብ ፔጃችን ላይ ፖስት እናደርገዋለን እና እዛ ገብተሽ መስማት ትችያለሽ። ብዙ ነገር ነው ያስተማረችን። it's kind of hard to recap. I don't want you to miss anything. እና እዛ ላይ ኔክስት ዊክ እለጥፈዋለሁኝ፣ ሁሉንም ትሰሚዋለሽ። One thing I just remembered, Hanaye, is sunflower program የሚባል tell us a little bit about that. A lady gave me information about that once.
Okay, yes, and I did forget to mention that, so I'll make sure to mention it for future ones. But the Sunflower Program, it's not it's a separate organization that you can order a badge, a lanyard for your child, and that program has started working with the airports and airport personnel, so that way if they see your child with that sunflower lanyard, they know that they have a special need and they will be able to support you. You can also find that sometimes they will have employees that have the sunflower on their name tags and things like that, and you know that they have been trained and are aware of those services and are good people to go to for additional support. So this is something that you can order online, that you can uh, then use and have on your child, so they're aware of that. Also, if they have sometimes on Monday, if they have a tendency to wander, that's good to have on them. So again, airport security and airport staff knows that this child has a special need and that they can make sure that they assist them accordingly.
በጣም ጥሩ ነገር ነው። አንድ ጊዜ I just remember travel ስናደርግ ከልጄ ጋር እንትኑ ላይ ዌቲንጉ ላይ እዛ ቼኪንጉ ላይ ልጄ ስፔሻል ኒድ ነው እና I need to be አስገብኝ እዛ ስላት no I don't see it አለችኝ because my son looks ሄድፎኑን አድርጎ ስልኩን ይዞ ምን ሲል looks like any teenager. And now if we had that, then we wouldn't have that conversation. ልጆቻችን ደግሞ ብዙዎቹ ቲፒካል ነው የሚመስሉት ስልካቸውን ይዘው አይፓዳቸውን ሆነ ምናምን ይዘው ሲሄዱ they look typical. So it's a good thing. ዌብሳይታቸው የእነሱ ደግሞ ያየሁት ነው hdsunflower.com ነው hdsunflower.com and I can actually put it on the chat. እሱን እዛ ደውላችሁ ማግኘት ትችላላችሁ። ወይ ልክ ሲያዩዋቸው ልጆቻችሁ ስፔሻል ኒድ እንደሆኑ ሰን ኪዩት ሊትል እንትን ሊኒየር ያለው እንትን ነገር ነው። እንትን አይደለም የሚያስጠላ ነገር ወይም በትልቁ ሳይሆን ለሚያውቀው እዛ ለሚሰሩት ሰዎች አይደንቲፋይ ያደርጋሉ ልጆች። ቴንክ ዩ ሃናዬ you put the link on there.
But make sure, I think the biggest thing, and Danchi, that you just said is if you letting the airlines know before, so that way you don't have to worry about who are you talking to. Because if you're having somebody that's new, a ticketing agent that's new that doesn't know about the disability programs, and you want to make sure that you've contacted the airline before, that you've contacted TSA before, so that they already put that on your boarding pass or on your boarding information, so that way you don't have the problem of trying to convince somebody that my child has a special need and design it ነገር. So it's very, very important that you call beforehand, so to avoid that as much as possible.
Key thing is መማር ያለብን እኛ is planning ahead. Planning ahead. Social stories እሱን ብዙ ጊዜ እንናገራለን። Social stories is really good. አንድ ጊዜ እኛ ልጄ ሆቴል አይወድም በጭራሽ ሆቴል አይወድም it just confines him እና ፒክቸር የሆቴሉን ፒክቸር ፎቶግራፍ አንስተን አሳየን we'll go here ከዛ ወደዚህ እንሄዳለን እና ፋሚሊየር እንዲሆን ምን እንደሚያጋጥመው ሶሻል ስቶሪዝ ደግሞ ቨርባሊ ነው we kind of get them ready ይሄ ነው ይሄን ሲሆን ይሄ ነው ምክንያቱም እንደ ሌሎች ልጆች ሁሉ ላይ ገባቸው ይችላል በፊት በተለይ ፈርስት ታይም ትራቨል ሲያደርጉ አውሮፕላኑን ምኑን ማሳየት ጥሩ ነው actually there's also programs I think did you mention that Autism Speaks and other organizations do different airports DFW airport ያረጋሉ ልጆቹ they simulate going to the airport ባጋቸውን ይዘው ምን ለማድረግ እና ያው opportunity ሲኖር አንዳንዴ ፌስቡክ ላይ ምን ላይ ለጥፈዋል እሱንም ደግሞ ፕራክቲስ ማድረግ ጥሩ ነው whether you are planning to go or not because አንድ ጊዜ መሄዳቸው አይቀርም የሆነ ነገር መጥቶ መሄዳቸው ስለማይቀር ፋሚሊያር ማድረጉ ጥሩ ነው ልጆቹንና ብዙ እድል አለን ልጆቻችንን የማዘጋጀት it's just እኛ አውቀን ሪሶርሱን የመጠቀም ጉዳይ ነው እና it's so much easier to travel ለልጆቻችን now
The program, it's called Wings for All. If
Okay.
it's not at every airport,
Yeah.
Ahon. It's starting. I think they've got one scheduled. I'm not sure if it's in the Boston airport that's happening within the next year. We're trying to get it at the DFW airport, so I'm trying to work with the national organization that does that. It's the Arc of the USA, ARC. I'll have to get the website for you. They're the ones that organize the coming into the airplane, and they'll go through the whole thing. They'll go through security. They even coordinate with an airline, and they'll get them help them walk them through how to board the plane. They'll get them to sit down on the plane so that they're getting a chance to see before they go anywhere what travel is like. So let me pull that up so that you have that as well.
I believe Southwest did that in Dallas at one point, right? They did.
Yes. And so we're trying to get that was before COVID was the last one
Yes.
that happened. So now, of course, everything after COVID is trying to get everything back to in order. So let me see if I can find the one where the Wings for All. So here's the website where you can get about finding out which airports they're currently doing it on.
Okay. The ARC.org, our
Yeah, the ARC.
Okay, I didn't know ARC did that. Okay.
Yes, they're the ones that do that one.
Perfect. Oh. Anybody else has any questions?
የሆነ ሰው እንትን ብሎ ነበር can you show us the symbol የምን እንደሆነ አልገባኝም
Can you
The
show
sunflower
us?
program?
ምናምን ነሹ የትኛው እንደሆነ አዲ
አዎ ይመስለኛል የሰንፍላወር ፕሮግራም መሆን አለበት። ስለ ሌላ ሲምበል አልተነጋገርንም አይደለም?
Think so.
I think you buy it. The sunflower says buy now.
Yes, you do. I can share my screen again and you can see what it looks like. So here's the so in Dizzy, it's either a lanyard in Dizzy
Yes.
that just they go around. So but I'm Tunisia and I don't know. And you can buy, you can buy more than one, but if you just need one, it's just a lanyard or a wristband. They also have cards. So here's the card that you would give in different languages so that you could say my child has let's find the English one. But it says, my child has a invisible disability, and you're able to give this to the flight attendant or the gate agent so that they're able to see that. So they have different things. So again, that you can also even wear they have t-shirts that you can have, things that you can put on their wristbands just show them that they have a hidden disability in design.
Yeah, very creative. All right. ሀናዬ we thank you so much. ሊንኩን ልክልሻለሁ ሬኮርድ ያደረግነውን አንቺም ሌላም ሼር ማድረግ ከፈለግሽ እናንተም ደግሞ ዌብሳይታችን ላይ ዩቱብ ፔጃችን ላይ ታገኙታላችሁ። in the next week or so ፖስት አደርገዋለሁኝ። again thank you ሀናዬ። ሀናን ደግሞ ዩዝ ሀና ትራቭል ለማድረግ ስትፈልጉ እሷን ተጠቀሙባት። እኛን ለመርዳት ነው እንግዲህ ይህን ሁሉ እያደረገች ነው። we appreciate you ሀናዬ።
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you everybody. Have a good night.
thank you